So recently, Apple introduced iOS 13, and that's added some new features to the photo editing app built into every iPhone. Overall, the main changes have been to the menu system, which has been made much more simple and easier to understand. There's also been some new features added, which we're going to take a look at now and how you can use them. Before we start, let's take a look at the new menu system. To do that, tap on the image and go to Edit at the top right hand side. On the right hand side you can see 4 icons. We're only interested in the bottom 3. The second from the top is the one I'm currently in, and that's the adjustment menu, and that allows you to adjust all sorts of things like highlights, contrast, etc, etc. Underneath that is the filter menu, and finally we have the crop menu. Let's go back to the adjustment menu to show you the first feature that's been added. You can see the magic wand symbol, which I'm going to select now, and that's made some slight improvements to the image. If I tap on the image, you can see the original and then the edited version. The automatic setting hasn't improved the image as much as I wanted it to. So what I can do is on the right hand side, slide my thumb up and down, and I can change the adjustment. So I quite like that image just there. This is before, and this is after. Once you're happy with the image, press done, and that's the finished image. So with only a small amount of effort, my image now looks like this. So let's take a look at what's new in the filter menu. Let's go down to filters, and if we tap along we can see the different types of filters that are available to us. The filters themselves haven't been changed in iOS 13. What is different is you can now adjust the strength of the filter, and you can do that by dragging your thumb up and down on the right hand side. So that's the original. And I'm going to have it just with a slight amount of colour inside. And again, to save, just press done on the top right hand side. The crop tool now allows you to straighten images as well. Let's test that with this image here. Selecting the image and pressing edit. And we want the far right icon at the bottom. And what we can see here is actually the phone has automatically done this for us. If we're not happy with that, we just have to reselect auto at the top. That's the original. And press auto again if we're happy. Yeah, and that's great. What I have done is I've lost the top of the image, so I can move this around a little bit. Let's get that looking just right. And once we're happy, press done. And that's the final image. So the automatic straightening tool doesn't always work, and you'll be able to see this with this example. Let's quickly go to edit and straighten. Now auto's done something, but it's not quite got what we want. So let's select auto at the top, the yellow box, deselect that. Now we can just work our way through these manual tools. It's going to be really easy to sort out. So the top tool, which I'm in now, is the rotation. And all we want to do is get that fairly level. The next one's probably the most useful for us, and as we slide this up and down, you can see that we can make the bottom or the top wider or smaller. So what we're going to do is kind of get it where we think it's going to be, right about there. And now I can see I need to rotate it a little bit more to the right. And the bottom tool is sort of left to right adjustment, and you'll see what that does in a second. Just like that. So again, that looks pretty okay. We're going to go back to the middle adjustment again, just adjust that a little bit more. And you can see there's some guidelines there to help you, which is really useful. But that's roughly it. And if I was to tap the adjustment menu and quickly go to auto and slide up and down, there we go. So we've gone from that to that with the adjustment menu, but also how messed up it was before. And to see that, if we just go back and revert, so go to edit and revert to the original. There we go, there's the original. So we're going to take a look at this final image, and this is going to use all the new tools that we've just learned. Let's go to edit. And the first thing I want to do is go to the straightening menu. And auto's picked up exactly what I want it to do, so I'm happy with that. So the next thing I want to do is go to the adjustment menu, and let's try auto by pressing magic wand. Well, that's not made any difference as far as I can see. Let's slide up and down and see what else it will do. And there's a little bit of change, but nothing impressive. So I'm going to deselect magic wand, and now I'm going to go through this manually and make my own alterations. So the first thing I want to do is raise the shadows. And just make that a little bit brighter. And I think I'm going to move the highlights down a little bit to give myself some more detail in the sky. That's looking pretty good. Now I'm just going to move on to brilliance and see what that can do for me. And what I'm going to do is just slide that back a little bit so it still feels realistic. Next thing I'm going to go for is definition. And this is going to make this image overall a little bit more contrasty. Next, we need some colour. And I'm going to move the vibrance up a little bit. So that's going to bring some blue into the sky and a little bit of the colour to the tower. I'm happy with this, but the image is starting to look a little bit green overall. So I'm going to go to the tint menu and just put some magenta back into the image. That's going green, and here's the magenta. And that's just about perfect. So the last thing for me to do is check out the filter menu and see if there's anything that can improve the image just that little bit more. And all I'm going to do is go through these individually and see which one I prefer. So the one that really jumped out to me straight away was Vivid Warm. And the reason I like that is it's made the leaves pop out a little bit more so you can see the autumn colours. So this is without, this is full, and let's just slide that back a tiny bit. So we're just there. And if we want to see what the before image looked like, and that's the edited. So I'm quite happy with that. And press done to save. Well, I hope this video has been useful for you, and please let me know in the comments if you'd like to see some more.